Oh, afternoon, YouTube. I'm here with you on this Tuesday afternoon. It's a miracle I can say Tuesday without even thinking about it. Um, I was all so confused last week on the day. I thought the whole week was Saturday. I don't know why. But sometimes you get that way when you're retired, I guess. You just, one day kind of melds into the next or whatever. Anywho, what I'm here for today is to... Hi. That's all you get to see of me now is just my hands. Alright, but anyway, what I want to show you is some things I got into the mail yesterday. First is this little Kobe CX53 mini digital AM/FM radio. Now, you can see the display there. It's on 12:47 p.m. That is afternoon. The radio itself is a digital display, but it is analog tuning. Now, what that means is basically the display gives you a representation of what frequency you're on, but it's not the exact digital type frequencies that you're used to seeing on these kind of displays. So let me kind of do that real quick, and I'll turn the FM on, and you can see we're on 106.6. I don't have the antenna up. That would help a little bit. We can tune it in a little bit and see if we can get it. So, it's actually 106.1 is the frequency for that radio. So now I'll turn it down before I get a hit. But anyway, it gets close as far as, you know, like I say, it's just not digital. That's the difference. But I want to point this out because of the little upcoming video I'm going to be showing here in just a minute. It involves this radio and also my frequency counter. So I wanted you to see what the display looked like before I have the video. Let me take us down to where my favorite radio station is, which is 98.3. It's a little bit difficult sometimes to get it right where you are. 98. There you go. There you go. That's the hum. Radio itself works pretty good. Now, obviously, the the AM is not as near as good, but it does work enough to see about this transmitter that we've been working on. So let me turn the AM on. See what we can get with it, if anything. I can get my. I met you in the dark. You made me feel as though that's 1390. So I can't even get it on. We drank too much. Alright, like I said, it does work, and it's not a bad little radio. It's a pretty good little radio. I like it a lot. So that's what one of the things was I got in the mail. The other thing is this. Now, I have been needing solder for a while. I don't know even if you guys have noticed, but when I go to solder things, this is what I've been using, and you can see it's down to its last little bit there. So this solder here, and it used to have a label on its Radio Shack. I've had this since I had my shop way back when, in the 80s, well, 90s I would say, and I've been using it, you know, all this time, so it's lasted good. Now this is a half pound of 6040 rosin core. It's got a 0.8 millimeter diameter, and that's pretty much the same as this. This is a 0.031 or whatever it is. I can't remember exactly, and I hope I'm on camera with that, but it's the same basic thing, and that's the size I like to work with. But anyway, I have never tried this kind before. This was $5.99 for a half pound. Plus, you had to pay $3.39 shipping. So it's a little cheaper than the name brands. Not a lot, but like I said, I thought I'd give it a try and see how well it works. And of course, I'll let you know how well it works. So, but I wanted to get this before I got back into the E200D restoration I've been doing, because I was out of solder basically, and so I wanted to get solder in before I started back on that. So I was playing with this in the meantime, and that's what basically I've been doing. Now this, again, this is now this next little video, the clip I'm going to show you, I shared this with a few of you already, and these are the people like Robert, Carl, Jack, that I shared it with, that's been kind of emailing me back and forth about this, and kind of wanted to show what it was. So let's take a look at that video right now.
Got something to say, you should hear it all. I'm happy to.
Alright, now that you've seen the video, you can see that this thing is doing something it's not supposed to do. And so far everybody is scratching their head that I've shown it to, why it's doing this. These oscillators, I shouldn't say oscillators, these 555 timers are not really supposed to go over 500 megahertz. Okay, and you can clearly see in the video that it's running at 1 point, I forget now exactly what the, but anyway, over 1 megahertz. Okay, and this is where I had it hooked up to. This is the frequency counter probe, and it goes directly to pin 3. It's on this side of the capacitor, and if I hook it up on the other side of the capacitor, I get a little bit more instability, I guess is what I would say. But the frequency counter sort of goes crazy when I put it over here. But when I put it over here, it's pretty stable. You can see it. You've seen what it was looking like on the video. But so that's what we're trying to figure out, why this thing is doing what it's doing. Now, I have not taken and checked these, like the capacitors and the resistors. I do believe I checked the 1K resistors before I put those in. But the rest of the stuff has really not been checked on a meter to find out if maybe these things are not quite the value they say they are. There is a calculator that will tell you what frequency the 555 will oscillate at in that mode, I should say. It's called a stable, and that's the mode it's in when it's set up like this. And I want to flash the calculator up there, a picture of that. Basically, it's like that other calculator I showed you not too long ago. You basically just plug in the values for the resistors and the capacitor, and it will tell you what frequency the 555 should oscillate at. And I can tell you that given the values of these capacitors and resistors, it should not oscillate at that frequency. Now, what we're trying to figure out is is it actually oscillating at that frequency, or are we seeing a harmonic of the actual frequency? Now, I can tell you from past use of my frequency counter, it does not oscillate or does not pick up on harmonics that well. And for it to key on one that strongly, it would have to be a really, really strong frequency, stronger than the fundamental, which should be kind of rare. That would be kind of really rare. But anyway, that's what we're going to be doing. And what I'm going to set up here, and I'm going to take and either put it here. Let's see if you can see this around. Okay, I want to put it either on this side, because these are separate. You can see there's a space in between here. These two are separate. I'm either going to put it here or over here on the other pad. I'm going to set up another 555, basically the same as what I've got, but only use the items that are in that calculator, which is the 2 resistors and the capacitor, and that's basically all we're going to use. And we're going to see what it oscillates at, and we're going to look at the scope as well when we do this, and the frequency counter. And there's no sense in using the radio, because we're really not doing a radio signal. We're just trying to find out what the frequency is that it oscillates at. And like I say, it's kind of weird that these things do that, but you know, anybody that's messed with electronics knows that sometimes there's no explanations. So, like I said, this is going to be kind of a short video. Not really short, it's actually 11 minutes long already. Alright, but sorry, Marty. I get to talking, you know how I am. But I just wanted to explain what was going on and what I'm going to be doing. And hopefully I get this done today sometime. I'll be able to build the other oscillator so we can get this all set up. And I'd like to have a camera on the scope and one on the frequency counter, and be able to kind of keep an eye on this. And yes, I haven't forgot. That's why one of the reasons I'm not going to dismantle this is I'm going to leave it like it is, because it does work, and I want to try to set up another one. And I've got plenty of components to do that. So, and yeah, the frequency or the antenna helped a lot on the part 2, if you guys watched that. And I'm still working on this other one, and like I said, we may end up building an RF amplifier. Haven't totally decided about that yet, but also, here I am, just keep talking. But also, there is another project that I've got going here, and I want to get that done now that I've got this radio. I want to take this into the living room and take my my original Vectronics AM transmitter, hook that up in here, and hook it to the new power supply that I built. You guys remember that. And see what kind of performance we get out of that in the living room as far as range and clarity. So that's basically what I want to do. I'd like to do all that today. I don't know if I'll get it done today or even post the videos today, but that's what I'm shooting for. So this is just a video to let you know what I'm up to and why I'm taking it slow or fast, or whichever way you want to look at it. But you guys sort of stick around and keep with me, and we'll get through this stuff. And eventually we're going to get back to that E200D. Like I said, I've got the solder now, and that's another thing I wanted soldered for, was to put this on a perk board. Get these capacitors, big capacitors. Also, I'm going to use some small disc capacitors for it. And if this is gonna be the one we stay with, that's what I'm going to do. But I'm going to socket the IC, because I've got sockets, and there's no sense in wasting a 555 on something I'm not going to use. So anywho, all the things that we're doing here, that's basically what I've got going through my head now, and I don't really have room for all that in my head. So you guys, you have a great day. It's a little overcast here today, and I'm afraid it might even rain a little bit. I got my windows open on the car because I got to pick Lexi up at 5. And so you guys have a great day. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you.